of the Junior Classical League.
This event is for everyone. You know, the classic students are so wonderful and diverse. We have artists, we have academics, and we have athletes. Those are the three kinds of events that we have at State Convention.
Word spread, you know, and then those students, their friends wanted to come out the next year, you know, and then now it's really just like this huge town event that we have 780 seats in the auditorium, and sometimes we're sold out before we even open.
My students were definitely surprised when I told them what I did, but it showed the kids that they can accomplish anything, and that no matter what age, they could do it.
This is my second year in materials processing, and all of a sudden I just came across the idea of, hey, why don't I do a swing for my yard with a roof and everything so I could sit out there and enjoy the outdoors.
Hi, I'm Sean Spiller, and this is Classroom Close-Up New Jersey. Thank you for joining us. We're here every week to share creative and memorable school projects that immerse students in rich learning environments. Projects covering all the basics to the less publicized subjects. In fact, that's where we'll begin on today's episode. Once a staple of formal education, the study of Latin was considered outdated and irrelevant by the mid-1970s. Now, Latin seems to be on the rise once again, attracting hundreds of students to the State Junior Classical League Convention.
Welcome to the 2017 New Jersey Junior Classical League State Convention.
There are so many different people from different backgrounds. There are people from different schools, different areas of New Jersey.
Every one of us anticipates today when we all get to come together, all of the different Latin clubs from around the state, and we just get to have a great time and be in community with these people that share the same ideas of supporting the classics and learning Latin as we do.
We, the members of the Junior Classical League, covenant to hand on the torch of classical civilization in the modern world.
This event is for everyone. You know, the classic students are so wonderful and diverse. We have artists, we have academics, and we have athletes. Those are the three kinds of events that we have at State Convention.
My chariot just won. Our CAD team designed it, and it was built by our wood shop.
People think of Latin and they think of boring people who only say things that no one understands. And so this is supposed to be fun. Kids today want to be involved. They want to be a part of something.
Everywhere we go, people want to know.
Franklin High School is the host of this year's 2017 JCL Convention. Every state is hosting a state convention, and then we all convene together at nationals during the summertime.
What is missing in this sequence? Do case, do kibis, do case, do kibis.
Do cum.
National Junior Classical League is an organization of Latin students throughout the entire United States and their teachers who believe that the ancient world has something valuable to contribute to today's world.
We serve kids who are not the basketball players, or not the football players, or maybe not the star academic student. And so we have a place for kids that don't always have a place to go.
Going into high school, my freshman year of high school, I didn't really know where I belonged. You know how people, they're like, oh, I do sports, or I'm in the musical, or I'm in student gov. I didn't know where I really belonged. And when I first went to the first JCL meeting, I just knew from the beginning that's where I belonged. And people were just so nice and just so loving and welcoming, and they welcomed me with open arms, and I had friends from that day on.
My freshman year, I started to see this world that we have in the JCL. I never thought it would be such a big community, but learning what it was, I was able to fall into place and have this family that I didn't have before, and I never knew what it felt like to have that, to be so accepted, to feel that warmth, and to have other people that share this passion with me.
Being part of such a tight-knit group of people that are the Latin students in the NJJCL community, it really inspires you to want to lead, to want to go out and be more outgoing. So I want to attribute a lot of where I am today thanks to Latin and the NJJCL, because if it weren't for that, I wouldn't I wouldn't be able to sit here right now. It's amazing to see how great we all are at participating with our clubs and making a real difference.
Cisco said he has been changed by the JCL, and I feel very surprised by that sometimes, not because of his response, but more how that reflects on me. I go to my job, I do my job, and sometimes you don't realize what kind of impact you have on a student and what this organization can. And they come back to you, or they get up in front of a crowd like that and they'll make these statements, and it kind of hits you all at once. You know, it makes you remember why you're doing what you're doing, and that you are making a difference in these kids' lives, and that the JCL helps you do that.
I found a home in Latin. My teacher, Miss Jones, is just absolutely phenomenal. She pushes us and encourages us and supports us. I love this club. I think that what it stands for in continuing the study of the classics is so important and so wonderful, and it's given me such a wonderful outlet, both creatively and academically, and even socially. And I don't know what I would have done the past 4 years without it.
Ms. Perlman has really fostered the love for community service, the love for leadership, organization, just everything. The life skills that she has taught all of us, not even me, my classmates, the other JCL members, national JCL members, really has created an environment of making yourself a better person.
When you look at the Latin language and what it does for the kids that we have, whether they go into science or math or politics, the whole classical world is around us every day, whether it's on the dollar bill, whether we take them to DC and they're looking at buildings, they go to the art museum, they understand the paintings, they see a connection between the modern world and the ancient world. And that connection really explains what the world is about. And I think it gives our kids energy to go and explore because they're not afraid. I don't want to step out of my zone. It's too hard. It's not too hard. They're so used to just doing things that are outside of the box because we do that in Latin. Parts of life should be hard and parts should be fun. The JCL is fun and Latin is fun. And that's what we want people to know, that there's a whole world out there and Latin is a part of it. That is, you know, people say it's been dead. It never died. It just changed a lot. But if you know where to look, it's all around us all the time. And so for those of us who do this for a living, we see it all the time. We see it every day, and we see it in our students.
As time goes on, the support for Latin in schools may rise and fall and rise again, as it has over the past century. It's sort of like the plot of the musical we're about to show you, where our heroes fly up to the sky, fall into the hands of pirates, and eventually, we'll see if you can guess where we're going.
Are you ready for today's lesson? Yes, Peter! Listen to your teacher. Repeat after me. I won't grow up. I won't grow up. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. Just to learn to be a parrot. Just to learn to be a parrot. And recite a silly rule. And recite a silly rule.
I'm Hannah, and I'm playing Peter Pan. I love getting up on stage and showing people our craft because it makes people happy, makes people sad, and they really enjoy watching us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2, 3, 4.
We do a district musical, and it involves 4 elementary schools, the middle school, and the high school. So it's the entire district.
I love to sing. I love to sing.
The concept started off kind of small, just wanting to get the whole town involved and make theater a collaborative community event, as theater should be, you know, and when we started this quite a few years ago, we had 30 or 40 students that came out, and it was just like having, you know, little kids on stage with older kids. We thought it was a cute concept, and it just kept steamrolling and growing, and this year we had 170 students audition.
Agua Agua Meatball! Agua Agua Meatball!
I remember when I was in 7th grade and I came to see one of Miss Miller's district shows, I looked up and I was like, I have to do this, I have to be involved. So then the next year I came, and the show that they were doing was Little Mermaid. And I was so excited, I came, I was like, I have to do this. So then I auditioned and I got a part, and ever since then I've been stuck with Miss Miller.
My freshman year was my first district musical. We did Shrek. I played the fairy godmother, and it was quite a shock to see all those little kids at once on stage and getting them in one place to dance and everything. But it was really fun to teach them as well. I definitely felt like a mentor to them, and it was just a really enjoyable experience.
We're doing Peter Pan, and I'm going to play Michael Darling, but they changed it to Michelle Darling. The older students helped me and they encouraged me to do a great job, so I copy off of them in a good way.
Our high school students are mentoring our younger students. You know, like every high school kid has a kindergarten or first grade buddy, you know, and then they want to aspire to be them one day. How are you guys doing today? You guys ready to sing? Yeah! On the count of 3, stand up. 1, 2, 3, stand up. We have 3 to 4 rehearsals going on at the same time. And you're juggling about 100 to 120 students because we have about 27th through 12th grade students that are allowed to participate in the backstage club aspect that build the sets, and then about 100 K through 12th grade actors. So they might do 1 hour of learning their music, but then from there they're going to the dance room and they're learning their dance, and then they're coming to me and we're blocking a scene. You know, so they'll rehearse for 3 hours, 3 completely different things, but I think it teaches good organizational skills. They have to be in charge of their own schedule because there's like 3 of us and there's 100 of them.
I think it's nice because like it's really active and it requires a lot of listening and attention, and the hard work really pays off once like you're performing it. My favorite part is working with everyone and all the singing, acting, and dancing. It's really fun to me. It's my passion.
We will simply run away. We will simply run away.
That's my new favorite dance I've ever seen.
So it introduces these very young students and their parents to the high school and to what's going on here. And what's going on here is amazing.
Hoboken's an interesting community. There are a lot of misconceptions about the quality of the school district. And the more exposure parents like me with an elementary school age child get to the broader community of the school district, the more you realize that it is a lot of misinformation, and what's actually happening in the school district is terrific. Not just the theater program, but the theater program is exceptional, I think, not only for us, but if you compare it against what's happening in schools probably across the country.
Mrs. Hook's little baby boy, the scourge of the sea, just below me, Captain.
When you're doing the district shows and you're on that stage performing that song, you can see that one child in the audience who has that smile come across their face, and it's the best experience that I've ever gotten.
Theater, it helps you feel like you can do anything.
It's the skills that people don't realize about theater. Like, theater is collaborative. It allows you to gain self-confidence and self-esteem. The majority of students in the school district that are involved in the theater program are the academic leaders, and I don't think that that's a coincidence. I really truly believe that arts-embedded education is what will allow people to be successful in whatever career they choose in life, because they're going to be the inventive leaders.
When we come back, safeguarding our 4-legged crime fighters, right after this.
My students are learning how to speak in Italian. They're learning obviously about my culture and my heritage and my language, which I'm very proud to share with them. I am the first person in my family born in the US, so I feel it's really important for me to promote my language and heritage, but at the same time show my students that we're all connected. You know, we all make up this beautiful world, and you need to learn to respect and learn about other people's cultures and heritage, all while knowing that, you know, we live in such a fantastic country. My students know I travel everywhere, but I always tell them when I come back, I'm happy to be back. If I wasn't, I wouldn't be here.
You're watching Classroom Close-Up New Jersey. Yay!
We have with us special guests from the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department. Today we had the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department come in. They gave a talk about the canine dogs that they are partnered with.
Although Jim Wiater is a carpentry teacher, he wanted the students here at Middlesex County Vocational to learn more about canines and their fellow officers.
I run 2 dogs. I have an explosives detection canine that's also cross-trained in firearms, and I have a narcotics detection canine.
It's good because a lot of people only see it from TV. It's nice to let them learn a little bit more about how we train the dogs and what these dogs actually do.
Does anybody know what this is? It's simply a rolled up towel, but every single one of our dogs, as soon as they become our working dogs, this is going to be the only toy they will ever have as long as they're a working dog.
They gave a very well-detailed explanation to the students on what it took to get these dogs to where they're at.
The officers lead the canines around the auditorium to demonstrate how they locate either drugs or explosives that are hidden somewhere in the room.
We prefer German Shepherds just because they have the longer snout, which allows them to smell a little bit better. And
the dog went around the room and ultimately got to where it was, and they did what his alert is sit. He sat, and then we pay him with this toy, which is his towel, which ultimately what these dogs, when they're working, they don't know they're working. They think they're looking for their toy. From the moment I wake up in the morning until I go to sleep, they're with me. They're with me all day long.
There's a second part to this that you guys don't know about. The reason why these gentlemen are here with their partners is because of a project I've been working on. Last year, I wrote and published a children's book. It's called The Adventures of Solo.
Jim's inspiration came from an actual event involving a canine officer.
I read an article. It was about a canine officer named Solo who was at the police standoff in Bradley Beach, New Jersey.
This 22-hour standoff back in 1998 ended with an officer sending in his canine partner to subdue the armed suspect.
The handler knelt down, told his dog basically what to do, and he said, "I knew I'd never see my dog again."
Unfortunately, Solo was shot and killed in the standoff. But Solo's memory lives on. The proceeds from Jim's book go towards purchasing body armor for canines.
I read that story, I cried, but I made a promise to myself that one day I would buy body armor. And I'm paying it forward. So, Bryn, if you come up and accept your vest, I'd be more than happy to give it to you, dear. We were able to purchase a piece of body armor for the Middlesex County Sheriff's Department, which ranges in prices from $800 to $2,800. She's always in a line of danger, no matter where she goes, and Kevin is much happier knowing that his dog is at least protected.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Around what age does the dogs usually retire?
It varies. Usually 7 to 9 years for a shepherd. They start getting...
It's telling the students, I'm a carpentry teacher, and now I'm going to make a book because I can do it. It tells a person you can do anything.
It's just a lifesaver.
The book is amazing, actually. I really like it. I got 2 people to buy a couple books, and a couple of my friends want to buy one because my one friend's actually becoming a police officer.
My students were definitely surprised when I told them what I did as far as writing a book. I never thought in my life I would ever write a book. But it showed the kids that they can accomplish anything, and that no matter what age, they could do it.
The one thing I'll always remember about Mr. Wiater is that I learned really well from him.
Jim is an outstanding educator, and he takes education very serious, and he really has a great relationship with all the kids, not just the ones that he teaches, but all the kids in the school. You know, we all have a dream, and he made his dream into a reality. And I'm really proud of him. I'm proud to say he's a friend of ours.
And then, of course, on the very last page, Solo receives his Medal of Valor. As Solo stood there proudly with the medal around his neck, he could hear one of the other police dogs say, "He really is the big dog." I knew it was something that was dear to my heart. I always loved dogs. I had dogs of my own. I knew I just had to keep that promise someday. I'm glad that instead of just buying one piece of body armor like my initial promise was, I'm up to 3 now. And I hope it keeps on growing.
Hi, honey. All right.
questions before we get started? All right, get on glasses, let's go to work.
The materials processing program here at Steiner is essentially a blend of the old wood shop and modern day sky's the limit, whatever the kids' ideas they bring to the program. I don't say no too often as far as their ideas for what they want to produce.
Look.
Mr. Friedman comes around with, hey, what does everyone want to build this year? I wrote down double neck guitar, and I showed that to him, and he was like, that sounds really cool. The woodshop program really brought something really good for me, and I loved it. I just loved working. I love the idea of taking something from so simple and then building it into something that was really great and gigantic.
This is my second year in materials processing. My motto has been go big or go home the whole time, and that's basically what I'm doing. I wasn't really sure at first what I wanted to do, and all of a sudden I just came across the idea of, hey, why don't I do a swing for my yard, with a roof and everything, so I could sit out there and enjoy the shade and just enjoy the outdoors.
Over the years, some of the big projects that I think most people in the building remember was Lauren Woods. She's off at Millersville to be a tech teacher now. She built a beautiful grandfather clock. Matt Blackman, who's also off at Millersville now, he built a canoe, which we put in the swimming pool at the end of the year, which is a lot of fun.
Pull back a couple times.
It is one of the best classes in this school.
All right.
It's an amazing experience. It's sometimes a heartache because if a piece breaks or doesn't go your way, but in the end, it's all worth it. And Mr. Friedman's there every step of the way. If you don't know something and he doesn't know something, you work together, you troubleshoot, you figure out what you need to do. Last year I made the chess table with the chess set. That was a very independent project. He just let me go and work.
Light taps.
This year I'm making a Victorian style end table. It's now very, very apparent that I need his help.
This is my first time trying wood carving. I was surprised at how well I actually did because I've seen videos on how hard it was until Mr. Friedman prompted me to try it. He's got tons of knowledge. He inspires me to do things that I don't even think I would be able to do. Like this, I never thought I'd be able to do this, but he inspired me to try and do it, and it turned out great.
When I was in high school and I told my guidance counselor what I wanted to do, he said, don't do it. Don't do it. He said, they're closing all the programs down, you're never going to find a job. And it just so happens my high school at the time did in fact close their program. And so that was the trend back then. And now so many schools want those programs to stay or come back. It's exciting for me to get the opportunity to say, hey, if this is what you like and you're willing to work hard, go for it. The fact is, those kids now that go into the technical trades are getting jobs right out of high school making really good money.
Sometimes I'll make something and they'll see it and say, oh, I want to make that. And I say, okay, when you finish your first project, I'll help you get started on this. And I think they surprise themselves sometimes on what they were able to accomplish. I see kids that might be having a hard day, and when they get into woodshop, that goes away because they're just working on their project and they have peace of mind, and we very rarely have to push them just towards the end when we're getting near the show.
Towards the end of the year, classes have a certain date where they know they have to be completely finished with their project.
The celebration is when everyone finishes their projects. We display them in the halls of the school, and everyone kind of just admires how hard we've all worked on putting together these projects the whole year.
The reason that all started and came to be was when I first started teaching here and I introduced myself as the new woods teacher, the most common reaction was, oh, I didn't know we had woodshop here still. So it's become a tradition now. It's, it's not, oh, I didn't know we had woodshop. It's, when's your celebration of the arts? When's all your stuff coming out?
Last year when I saw projects all over the hallways, it was very interesting, and I wanted to do something great. Now I'm working on a 12-string guitar. I was thinking of majoring technology, engineering, education, maybe become a teacher, a woodshop teacher, engineering CAD teacher. I want to do all those things so that more young ladies would be more comfortable into getting into those classes. A lot of girls don't want to do it, so I'm just like, hey, why don't I do it? Like, if you're not going to do it, then I'll do it. I'll do it for you so that maybe your children or your children's children can do it for themselves.
The words of a true trailblazer. In her own unique way, Iris personifies the spirit of Mr. Friedman's materials processing program, where we see that sky's the limit approach to experimentation and learning on display. It matters when young people are exposed to hands-on projects and presentations rooted in real-world experiences and events. Programs that fire their imagination, inspire them to raise their voices, and always do their best. We hope you enjoyed learning about the stories we highlighted today. If you missed any part of this episode, or to search our video library, go to classroomcloseup.org. Next time, we'll focus on school service projects that are improving the lives of individuals around the world. Until then, for Classroom Close-Up New Jersey, I'm Sean Spiller. See you soon.